Class, Mrs. Calvi again. This is the second video of creating a box and whisker plot if you happen to have an even amount of numbers in your data set. So again, first step is going to be to put our numbers in order from least to greatest. So let's go ahead and do that. I have a 4. I have another 4. I have a 5. A 5. A 6, another 6, and a 7. All right. Oh, and I almost forgot, we also have an 8. So let's go and check to see how many numbers were in our original data set. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 is an even number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. So just as in the first video, our next step is to find the median of the data set. And the median is the number that's going to land in the middle. Now we already know because we have an even amount of numbers, there are going to be 2 left in the middle. So let's see, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. And then we have 5 and 6 left in the middle. All right, so we already have 2 numbers that we know. So 5 and 6, and we know that in order to come up with the median, we need to add those 2 together and divide by 2. This one also pretty simple. You guys should know what comes directly halfway between 5 and 6. So our median is 5.5. Okay. So, all right, so our median is, what happened? Sorry, guys. So our median is 5.5 here, okay? All right, so this is the tricky part when identifying now our lower half and our upper half. So our median is 5.5. It's not 5 and it's not 6. It's right in the middle of these 2, right? So our 5.5 is right in between here. When we identify our lower half, this 5 has to go with the lower half, and this 6 has to go with the upper half, all right? So that's the one tricky part when you're working with an even amount of numbers. When you're identifying your upper and lower half, this 5 goes with the lower half, this 6 goes with the upper half. That's one thing you cannot forget, because when you go to calculate your median of the lower half, you need to make sure you're including this 5. When you go to calculate the median of the upper half, you have to make sure you're including this number 6. All right, so now identifying the median of the lower half, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers. So an even amount. So we're going to have 2 left in the middle, which happens to be 4 and 5. So we need to find the median of 4 and 5, which you guys already know. What comes right in the middle of 4 and 5. That is going to be 4.5. And I'm going to circle this in a different color. And hopefully you remember that is going to be identified as our first quartile. Okay, we now need to identify the median of the upper half, and the upper half is made up of, don't forget, we include this 6, 6, 7, and 8. Again, 4 numbers, 2 numbers left in the middle. Those 2 numbers happen to be 6 and 7. What number comes halfway between 6 and 7? These are easy, but if they were different numbers where you can't mentally calculate it, you would just add these 2 numbers together and divide by 2, don't forget. So what comes right in the middle of 6 and 7, we should know that that is 6.5. And that is identified as our third quartile. And I did not mention this in the first video, but some worksheets and some books, you will see the median identified as the second quartile. Sometimes this is labeled as Q1, quartile 1, Q2, and Q3. So if you ever happen to see Q2 or quartile 2, they're referring to the median of the entire data set. All right, so we have 3 of our 5 points. The last 2 points that we do need to identify are our least value, which happens to be 4, and our greatest value, which happens to be 8. So let's identify those. So that is our least value and our greatest value. And then the rest of the process is exactly the same as what we did in the first video. You're actually creating your Box-and-Whiskar plot based on these 5 points that you've identified. So my smallest number is 4, my largest number is 8. Again, I don't need to have a huge number line. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I just noticed here, I wonder if some of you caught me, I put 6.7 and this should have been 6.5. Sorry, guys. Wonder how many of you caught me. So this should be 6.5. Sorry about that. Okay, now we are going to plot the 5 points that we've identified. Okay, so we are going to plot, oh wait, I have to first number my number line. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then I'm going to go ahead and plot those 5 points. So my least value is 4. My first quartile is 4.5. That's right in between 4 and 5. My median is 5.5. My third quartile is 6.5, which is between 6 and 7. And my greatest value is 8. So I have all 5 points plotted. Remember, the 3 center points are what make up my actual box part of the Box-and-Whiskar plot. This middle point is always my median. I put a line going straight down. And then I have to connect my whiskers. Now don't forget, I told you in the first video that the Box-and-Whiskar plot is made up of 4 parts, and each part is worth what percent? Do we remember? So each part is 25% of the data, makes up 25%. So this little whisker makes up 25% of the data. This box makes up 25%. This box makes up 25%, and this whisker makes up 25%, which makes sense because all 4 added together makes up 100% of the data. All right. Just quickly, you're going to learn in a different lesson calculating the interquartile range, or the IQR. So to calculate the IQR, all you're doing is you're taking your third quartile and you are subtracting your first quartile. Don't really need to know that for Box-and-Whiskar plots, but in order to actually calculate your interquartile range or your IQR, you have to create the points for the Box-and-Whiskar plot, because you need the value of your third quartile and you need the value of your first quartile. And your IQR is made up by subtracting the third quartile and the first quartile. All right, guys, that's it for Box-and-Whiskar plots. I will see you soon.